Welcome back. The $2 million Bitcoin and the $10,000 Ethereum Solana drain game is underway, and we're going to be discussing that in today's video. This $2 million prediction for Bitcoin from a well-known Bitcoin expert, and then we're going to be also talking about the Ethereum charts and where this is going. Now, I think that the audio is fixed, guys. If you are still having audio issues, I don't know what to tell you. We've tested on multiple devices. Everything sounds good. It is working on mobile as well. So if you're on any other device, I really don't know what to tell you. The audio is fine. Moving right along, there is a lot going on in the crypto space. Now, I have been saying for quite a while, even during last year, that the cycle is going to turn at some points, and we're going to see major assets moving much, much higher, like we saw with XRP, we saw previously with Solana, and we're also going to see the rotations out of these coins into other coins. No matter how much you love these coins and buy into the narrative and believe that it's going to go up forever, it is not. And there are rotations in the market, as we've been discussing this whole Solana meme coin craze. And like literally with the whole Argentina thing, $100 million was extracted in a few hours from the launch. Where is all of this money coming from? And by the way, where is it going? Right? So it's in Solana ecosystem, but as we're seeing these meme coin speculators pulling out of the market and starting to realize that this meme coin season, while it still may be going on, it's not going to last forever, and all these coins are trending to zero. And so what they're going to start doing is these speculators that have been making extensive profits within the Solana meme coin ecosystem, they're going to start moving elsewhere. Now, where? Well, that's a whole different situation. We don't know. Maybe Ethereum, maybe Bitcoin, maybe the Ethereum meme coins. Who knows? But in today's video, we're really going to be discussing this $2 million valuation, $10,000 valuation for Ethereum. And we're going to start right here with Samson Mao says that Bitcoin's price movements looks very manufactured. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. We upload almost every single day, so also hit that subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video. I give you guys my unbiased opinions on what is going on in the market. And if you don't agree, great, we can agree to disagree. Now, moving right along, he said it seems like some sort of price suppression, according to what he said in a consensus Hong Kong panel. And I would agree. There is definitely suppression going on, as we've explained previously. There, Wall Street is in control. They are in control of these markets. And at the end of the day, if they want to dump hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin onto the market to keep the price down, if there's a lot of buy pressure, they're going to do that. We've seen this already happening in ETFs, hundreds of millions of dollars dumped in one day, and then a few days later purchased back up. And again, I believe personally that this is a mechanism to keep the prices from moving extraordinarily higher or lower like we've seen in previous cycles. And this is why a lot of people also believe this is going to be the last like major cycle for crypto. I mean, we may have already had it in 2020. Anyway, he said that the Bitcoin's range-bound price action may be manufactured due to the trajectory of the past months. And he is the CEO of Jan3 and the founder of Pixelmatic. He said it seems like some sort of price suppression. If you look at the price movement, we peak, then we stay steady and chop sideways. And it's good. You can say it's consolidation, but it seems very manufactured. The very tight range in which you're trading just doesn't look natural at all. There he is on stage at Consensus Hong Kong, and I would kind of agree with what he's saying. He said if Bitcoin's price isn't moving despite institutions and retail buyers accumulating Bitcoin, then someone must be selling. And you've got retail buyers who are dollar cost averaging and buying because the price is set at the margin. So that means somebody has to be selling. And this is one of the questions that I've been asking as well, right? With all of the forget about the Bitcoin ETFs for a minute. If you just take MicroStrategy purchases of Bitcoin, it is extraordinarily high. And it's not just, there's so many derivatives on derivatives on derivatives. So we have to think about MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin, but we also have to think about who is buying MicroStrategy, right? We just heard this the other day. JP Morgan acquires $100 million in MicroStrategy, now strategy shares, signaling institutional FOMO. Now, they basically purchased JP Morgan, the bank that said, well, at least the CEO, Jamie Dimon, said that anybody who's trading Bitcoin would be fired. He said that a few years ago, and obviously the bank situation has changed as the regulatory environment is changing and as people are demanding access to these kind of products. Anyway, JP Morgan purchased $100 million worth of MicroStrategy shares. As reported, this transaction was executed the other day at, it says at $1,200 each. That doesn't make sense. Unless it was last year in 2024. And if that is true, that was before the split. That's why it's at $1,200. So think about it as like $120 purchase price. But yeah, this is kind of odd that they're they're listing it at $1,200. That's kind of very odd. But anyway, there's been a lot of reporting on this that JP Morgan is buying into MicroStrategy. You can actually see this. You go to the NASDAQ website, type in the ticker name, and then click in institutional holders, and it will show you the top holders of any stock in that people who own it. Anyway, staying with what Samson Mao has said, he has now doubled down his Bitcoin price prediction, now predicting that Bitcoin will reach $2 million. Now, obviously, we've discussed on this channel the kind of road to $1 million and $2 million. I believe it is baked in the long term, but let's kind of understand a little bit more about what Samson Mao has said. Now, he's been an advocate of the $1 million Bitcoin. He's now revised it higher. His new prediction came in response to comments on X, where he hinted that Bitcoin's price target should be 2 million instead of previously 1. He said, quote, maybe it should be 2 million. So listen, there's a lot of institutions buying and a lot of, wealthy individuals and governments around the world that are buying Bitcoin. This is without it's happening, right? And so we have to really understand when MicroStrategy is buying, who is selling. And we can actually chart this. We can actually go to the strategy website, look at their Bitcoin purchases, and then also then go to the ETF purchase and selling and see what that looks like on those days or around those days. And it would be very interesting. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. There's institutions here that are manipulating the markets. To what degree, I don't know, but think about it. MicroStrategy is buying thousands, like hundreds of millions or billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin within the last few months alone. That means that there needs to be all of this sell pressure on the market. Originally, a lot of this sell pressure was coming from FTX and the liquidations of a lot of these bankrupt companies from the last cycle, but a lot of that is over now, right? We're seeing that FTX is distributing coins to make repayments. FTX's $1.2 billion repayment mark is a key moment in the crypto industry recovery. And I believe the other day we started to hear that Kraken customers were receiving their refunds from FTX. And so, in this key moment for the recovery, the Bahamas wing will honor the first batch of repayments for users who are owed less than $50,000. They received these funds on February 18th in UTC time, according to a post from the FTX creditor, who's the largest group of more than 1,500 FTX creditors. The repayments will bring in its estimated $1.2 billion worth of capital in the first wave of defrauded FTX customers. Now, keep in mind, most FTX customers and FTX, it was a very heavy Solana ecosystem, guys, very heavy. FTX created effectively Solana. Solana was created by and for the billionaires by Sam Bankman and that whole FTX cabal. And so, in my view, kind of moving into what we were talking about with the meme coin, the Solana drain game, right? Meme coins, people are going to be extracting value from the meme coins. It goes into Solana, and then they're going to be extracting from the Solana ecosystem and starting to move to other ecosystems that haven't pumped yet, like Ethereum, like Polygon. Even we're starting to see the likes of like Litecoin moving up, probably a lot of AI and gaming as well. So this is really important to understand, like what this means that FTX is releasing funds, right? This could mean that people are going to, because from my understanding, people are getting in kind, meaning they're going to be getting their repayments in the cryptos that they're owed. I could be wrong on that, but either way, that would to me say that there's going to be a lot of Solana being sold on the open market, and therefore the Solana is going to have even more sell pressure. And then again, I believe we're going to start to see movements into other coins, and this could include Bitcoin. We also know that the US listed Bitcoin miners accounted for 29% of global hash rate in February. Now, I'm going to be doing a separate video specifically on Bitcoin mining stocks and kind of where they all lie because it's all over the place. There's a lot of Bitcoin mining companies that are overvalued, there's a lot that are undervalued. And I mean, if you look at it the other way, some are you think they're overvalued, but they're actually undervalued, and the ones that are undervalued, you think they're actually overvalued. So who knows? But I'm going to be doing a separate video on that. We are going to be taking a deep dive into the hash rate of these individual companies because, in my view, the hash rate tells me how much actual compute power they have for the Bitcoin network, and therefore what their operation looks like. And there's a lot of actually micro cap crypto stocks, Bitcoin mining stocks that are actually high hash rate but very low valuation. And I don't know exactly why that is, but that tells me that those are probably undervalued. So stick around for that video on this channel. Keep an eye out for it. It's going to be called something like I review every Bitcoin mining stock, or these are the undervalued mining stocks. Let me know what your thoughts on that are down below, by the way. But it is very important to understand, at least, that these Bitcoin miners in the United States, they are growing. They are taking a large portion of the hash rate. When people are saying that they want the strategic Bitcoin reserve, they want the US to own Bitcoin, because the US basically already does own Bitcoin, right? They own it through the likes of MicroStrategy, through the likes of the Bitcoin ETFs. Like, you really have to think to yourself, like, who is actually like if I'm a large scale investor, or I'm a retirement fund and I'm buying these Bitcoin ETFs or MicroStrategy, I'm not selling it. I'm not even planning on selling it. So why are we seeing hundreds of millions of dollars coming out of these Bitcoin ETFs on individual days? And not only that, who is actually selling, right? They're BlackRock ETFs, right? Maybe it is the banks, maybe it is the government, maybe it is the Federal Reserve. We don't know, but I do think that that has a part to play in it, right? The U.S. is already involved in crypto. Now, if they're going to let the everyday person do it and regulate the industry and give clarity, that's a whole different story. But right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum, these are the two that are really being focused on, right? 30% of the global hash rate is in the US with publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. There's probably a lot of companies and private individuals that are mining Bitcoin in the US that would bring that hash rate much higher as well. And so the US probably already has more than 1/3 of the entire global hash rate, and therefore the 1/3 of the entire, processing power of the Bitcoin network. And so Bitcoin focused Meta Planet is going to split. They said split the stock, but I'm pretty sure they mean split their stock 10-1 after a 3,900% surge. Now, Meta Planet is a Japanese company that is following the likes of MicroStrategy by putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and making regular purchases of Bitcoin. And it seems like they're also going the debt strategy and convertible note route that we saw with MicroStrategy to grow their, or I should say, fundraise effectively and get cash to then go and buy the Bitcoin. Now, if we look at MetaPlanet's stock over the last year, huge growth from $16 to $40, just about a 3x. But if we pull it out even, this is the over-the-counter markets. What we have to do is we have to actually pull up the Japanese market. So it's pretty easy. You can see right here, the price in yen is basically $40, 6,100. It's basically the same price. But if we pull this back before it was listed on the OTC markets, you can see that it was basically 170 yen, which I don't know the math, but you can do the math in your head. It really doesn't matter. But if you can see here from 6120 divided by 170, that means it's 36x in basically 1 year. You can see we were at basically 170 in February of last year. So we went from 170 yen to 6,120 yen. So if we take $40 and we divide it by 36, that's basically going from $1.11 to $40. Huge growth. Is it going to go higher? Possibly. But we still have to kind of ask the question, like, when is it going to be where the company is being overvalued based on these Bitcoin purchases, right? So it says 239 billion Japanese yen. Let's do the math on that. So when we do the math on that, 239 billion yen is basically 1.5 billion US dollars. Is Metaplanet worth, $1.5 billion? I don't know. That's something that you would have to kind of do a little bit of research on yourself. It shows here that the revenue, and again, this is a Japanese company, not a US company, so we have to keep that in mind. But it shows the revenue at 811 million. I'm guessing that's yen, and the net income is 6.72 billion, which is like what, 5 times, 6 times what revenue is. It seems a little bit off, but again, I would have to do more of a deep dive into their financial statements and all of that. The fact that it's a Japanese company, I personally wouldn't be jumping right into it. I would kind of do a lot more research, especially because it has already basically 40x'd in 1 year. Is it going to continue to 40x? I don't know. I mean, I would look at probably other companies that are starting or thinking about buying Bitcoin as kind of an entry point into those, because if they do start buying, maybe we're going to see similar movement in the price as Metaplanet. But I remind you guys, what happened during the last cycle? The last cycle, literally, a company changed their brand from Long Island Iced Tea Company to Long Island Blockchain. They were still an iced tea company, but they changed to Long Island Blockchain because they believed that the price was going to go up, and it did, right? And we're going to see the same thing occurring this cycle. Meta, right? Facebook changed to Meta, and they're not even doing anything in the metaverse anymore, right? Now they're focused on AI. So sometimes these adjustments or changes, or even them saying we're going to start buying Bitcoin, and then they just buy a few $1,000,000, like, should the valuation be $50 billion when the company is not really worth that much? I don't know. That's something for you to make a decision for your own investment portfolio. Right now, they've accumulated 2,000 tokens worth $200 million. So basically, they have $200 million in Bitcoin and a $1.5 billion US valuation. So their stock to Bitcoin holding portfolio ratio, I should say, is 7 to 1, meaning basically, like, if you're looking at earnings per share, how much Bitcoin per share is 1/7 of a share is how much Bitcoin you have in it. Seems a little bit overvalued, because especially if you look at MicroStrategy's premium, meaning when you buy, let's say, $100 in a share of MicroStrategy, about 50% of that share is Bitcoin. And the rest is, so it's basically 2x what their Bitcoin holdings are. And this is basically significantly more than that, right? Double versus 7x, big difference. So something to think about as we kind of move forward. But again, if they're buying Bitcoin and Bitcoin does go to $2 million, this is going to be a huge jump, and I believe that we're going to see larger moves in these Bitcoin proxy stocks, not the Bitcoin ETFs, Bitcoin proxy stocks like MicroStrategy and Metaplanet. We'll probably see more movement and more volatility in those than we would have with the underlying asset Bitcoin. But again, are we at the top of the market? I don't know. We are looking very toppish right now. And as I've explained, this cycle is moving a little bit differently than the previous cycle. And I do think that if we have one more pump in the market, this is going to be it, right? There's a lot of people, no, Cryptoviser, we're going to have more than these. There's going to be a lot more pumps. But a lot of this is based on speculation, right? What we're going to have. Are we going to have a Bitcoin reserve? What if that doesn't happen? Right? There's all that speculative money that went into Bitcoin for the Bitcoin reserve, with the belief that the US is going to buy a lot and that's going to push the price up. If that doesn't happen, all the speculative money in all these other assets are going to start draining away, like what we talked about with the Solana meme coins. Once that kind of is over, and it looks over, or very close to it, right? When you have somebody like Dave Portnoy launching a new coin every day saying, don't buy it, I'm going to extract money from it, right? That seems pretty toppish, right? It seems very toppish, because it's like every day. If he just did one, that's one thing. But it's like every single day there's a new meme coin coming out. And it's not just in that sector, it's a lot of other areas of the market as well. So $2 million Bitcoin, right? Right now we're at $100,000 approximately. So to get to 2 million, we'd have to 20x from where we are. I don't think that we're going to 20x this cycle. Eventually we will 20x. We will hit $2 million. Bitcoin, because the dollar is going to continue to be devalued, maybe at a slower pace, maybe at a faster pace. Who knows? But the bottom line is it's going to continue to be devalued, right? And they're going to have to continue to print money. in the crypto markets, this is a limited supply. And that brings us to Ethereum. Because while we've been talking about Solana price plunges 40% in a month as the perfect storm fuels losses. And I believe that the perfect storm with Solana has just began. Because listen, guys, Solana already went from $8 to $250, right? And you have to ask, right, when is the next leg? Maybe that leg is over, right? Because going from $8 to $250, it's a 30x. And we did that in the last year, year and a half. And so at some point, the market participants, right, large, big money, they're going to look at this and say, okay, made a lot of money, we've come down a lot. Even if they sell right now, they're still up 20x, right? From $8. 20x. And some of these people have been in since 25 cents from the IPO, which happened in 2020. And so they already, if they sell right now, people are like, no, the Cryptoviser, they're not going to sell. We've come down 50%. It's like, yeah, but these people are up 20x already, right? You may be down 50%, they're not. And so if they see the market moving, which it is, they are going to move with the market. And if you're going to just sit there and say, no, but Cryptoviser, Solana is the greatest. You were wrong last year on Solana. Yeah, maybe I'll be wrong again. I don't own it, so I don't care, right? But I'm looking at where the movements are because I want to be where the money moves next, because those cryptos are going to pump. Then people are going to sell those profits. Then there's going to be some situation, or a blockchain goes down, or the gas fees are too high, or whatever the situation is with Ethereum. And then people are going to pull out of Ethereum and go into another asset. Maybe it'll be XRP. Maybe it'll be Solana. Maybe it'll be something else. But the bottom line at the end of the day is the big institutions and the big companies, they are buying Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum. That's it. That is it, guys. And there's a lot of speculation. Oh, but Cryptoviser, when there's all these other ETFs getting approved, they're going to be buying into it. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know that, right? I mean, just look at grayscale investments. A lot of these investment funds have not grown over the last few years. They've either stayed the same or drained a lot because people pulled money out. And we already have a Solana trust, right? We already have, an Avalanche trust. I think they have a Dogecoin trust. Like, there's a lot of trusts already out there with Grayscale that you can kind of look at the data and see if an ETF is actually going to mean anything. And we'll kind of see. But that brings us from Solana to Ethereum, right? $2 million Bitcoin. I believe we are going to hit a $10,000 Ethereum. A lot of people are saying Cryptoviser, no way that's going to happen. But at the end of the day, guys, the all-time record high so far for Ethereum is about $4,000. We haven't even hit that this cycle, right? Again, we have not even hit that. Most of these other coins that have pumped, XRP, Solana, Bitcoin, they have hit their all-time record high. There's a lot of coins that have not hit their record high. Maybe they've pumped a little bit, but they have not hit their record high. And so if all of this money and volume moves into Ethereum and the Ethereum-based ecosystems, I believe that these Ethereum-based ecosystems are going to move much, much higher, right? And so even if we get to the all-time record high, that's about $4,600 it's showing here on CoinMarketCap. So let's just say $4,700, right? Just doubling that is basically $10,000, $9,400. And so we're basically there at 10,000. What we're seeing is Ethereum is following a very similar cycle to 2017's Bitcoin, when Bitcoin was hovering in the $2,000 to $3,000 range. Then it went up to 10,000. Then it came down to 1,000. Then it went up to 20,000. And then boom, we were in the bear market after that, pretty much. So that's the cycle that we're kind of in. It appears that way, at least with how the market's moving. And, Ethereum, there is going to be some sell pressure because people are going to want to sell. But the amount of money getting pumped into the Ethereum ecosystem, Brevin Howard, which is a financial institution, they're deploying $20 million on Ethereum-based Kinto in institutional DeFi push. I think I may have covered this in a previous video, but asset manager Brevin Howard's digital Abu Dhabi branch allocated $20 million to Kinto, an on-chain financial network on top of Ethereum. Kinto integrates compliance features such as KYC and AML at the blockchain level, appealing to institutional investors. And again, guys, Solana doesn't have this. And what I said about this whole meme coin thing is after 4 years or 2 years in the bear market, or few years, yeah, like 2, 3 years since the FTX collapse, we have not seen, like at all, any major developments or deployments in Solana besides meme coins. Like when I did that video the other day about the Solana meme coins, I said, like, this is all Solana has after all these years of development and promises about how much is being pumped into the markets. It wasn't. It was pumped into bullshit to pump people's bags. That's what it appears to be with the whole meme coin thing. This is the same thing like last cycle with NFTs. I'm like, we had DeFi summer, Solana summer, all this stuff to really push decentralized finance. And the market towards the end, was obsessed with NFTs. And these NFTs are going to be worth millions of dollars. Literally, people who own these NFTs were like, no, no, no. You cannot right click it and save the same image. You can't do that because I own the NFT. And it's like, I just did it. And they're like, no, it's mine. It's like, that's not how this works. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be worth $5 million, right? And most of these people lost significant amounts of money. But remember, guys, the peak of the NFT market was the peak of the crypto markets as well, right? It was the last kind of final straw, like, oh, I can't make any more money in any of these cryptos because none of them are pumping. And that's the only place I can make my money in NFTs. This is the only place I can make my money, meme coins. And honestly, NFTs is the back end integrations of NFTs for authentication and stuff like that. There's a lot of usage there. But like what the NFTs were in 2021 and what they are today, there's no usage for it, right? Nobody's still, like, people are trading NFTs, but it got no institutional use. It's the same thing like the metaverse. Everybody was going to be living in the metaverse. We're going to go to work in the metaverse. We're going to wear these big ass goggles and live in the metaverse. Nobody is doing it at all. And so we have to look at what is working and what is being integrated at very high levels of finance. And that is Ethereum. That's it. Solana does have a lot of DeFi. Some of these other chains out here do have some DeFi, but the big money and the big institutions are looking at Ethereum. That's it. That is it. Period. I just showed you Brevin Howard, Abu Dhabi. The big key for me though this cycle is what World Liberty Finance is doing. Bottom line, right? Because their whole portfolio is $345 billion or million dollars, sorry, 345 million. And basically 2/3 of that is in Ethereum. A little bit more is in Wrap Bitcoin, USDC, Tether, Tron, Aave, Chainlink. I'm not too familiar with Athena, Movement, or Ondo as much, but all of these are well integrated with Ethereum. The largest holding they have is Ethereum. World Liberty Finance, it literally says here, explore, its aim is to strengthen the US dollar's global status in the DeFi space. And how are they going to do that? Using Ethereum, using Ethereum-based protocols, using Ethereum-based coins, using Ethereum-based DeFi. The amount of money that they've been putting into this, it's clear what they're doing. It's very clear, at least to me. You may disagree and say, but Cryptoviser, they're going to get into this coin and this coin. The speculation on it, it doesn't, like, even if they buy your little altcoin, it's going to be a very small percentage. 2/3, a $250 million is in Ethereum. And this was purchased in the last year. So for me to think that Ethereum is not going to hit $10,000 this cycle, to think that Ethereum is not going to continue to be the number one DeFi protocol by far, the number one used DeFi protocol by far, the protocol that all the financial institutions are going to be plugged into by far, the fact that all the stable coins are going to be tied into it. This is where the money is, guys. This is it. And like I said previously on my videos, since I've come back from my little YouTube break, we are not talking about what can be, right? I'm already seeing comments. But Cryptoviser, this protocol is going to do this. This protocol is going to do, even protocols that I love, like Internet Computer, right? People are saying, oh, but Cryptoviser, Internet Computer is going to do this. Oh, they're gonna launch that. I don't care what they're going to do. I want to know what they're doing today, because the today development and today deployment tells me where they're going to be in 4 more years. Because there's still protocols that don't have USDC, that don't have Tether, that don't have cross-chain bridges, that don't have connections to other DeFi ecosystems, and those protocols are just not going to work. And There's a lot of them, guys. There's a lot of them. And like I said, they're chasing narratives. AI. The only AI protocol that is currently live and currently has the capacity to scale with institutional AI usage is internet computer. Bottom line, period. That's it. That's it. Even Singularity Net and Fetch AI and Ocean Protocols, artificial superintelligence coin, it has nothing on what internet computer currently is. Currently, not what it's going to be, currently. And so that's what I'm looking at from investment perspective, and especially for anything that I'm thinking about long-term hold. So Ethereum is already there. Bitcoin is clearly already there from an institutional standpoint, from a DeFi standpoint, from a government and banking integration standpoint, from a regulatory perspective. That's it. That is it. And I think that this whole thing that just happened in Argentina is going to solidify on a much larger scale that meme coins and shit coins, as other people call them, these are not going to be part of strategic reserves. These are not going to be part of, government integrations. I think that most are going to follow what El Salvador did. Bitcoin only, maybe some Ethereum only, but that's it. It's not worth the risk. And especially when many of these protocols have not been fully, I mean, guys, Ethereum is now talking about Ethereum 3.0, and Vitalik is like, well, it's not going to really be Ethereum 3.0. It's going to be similar to that. Listen, guys, there is so much happening. We just have to focus on, what the sure. If somebody asked me, Cryptoviser, what is the sure thing? And again, this is not financial advice, it's just my opinion. I could be wrong. If somebody said, what is a sure thing? It's the same thing I've been saying on this channel for years now. Bitcoin, that's it. Like, there's still people who ask me in my life, right? Cryptoviser, what asset should I buy? And I'm like, well, I would never recommend you buy anything if you have to ask me. You should do your own research and know for yourself, right? What's right for your portfolio. But if I were to say the number one that I think is the safest for most people is Bitcoin or Bitcoin related products like ETFs. That's it. Maybe some Ethereum. Once people start getting into these other ones, they start to believe the narrative and start believing in it, and then they never will take the profit because they believe it, and they're down 90% of their portfolio, and they're like, but it's going to go back up because I believe. And it's like, guys, the only ones in my view to believe in for the long term, and I'm not saying that these other protocols are not going to work out, but like majority of holdings in portfolios, what are the big money doing? They're putting in Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's it. That's it. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because I know it's very controversial. People are like, no, but Cryptoviser, Solana's better, XRP's better, Tether's better, whatever. But the bottom line is that institutions on a large scale are not interested. And I personally, based on what we're seeing with World Liberty Finance, they're not interested either, right? And so if this is where the big money is in their thought process, I do think that I think there's gonna be freedom in the United States to trade other assets and all of that, right? But where the big money is going and where the institutions are going and what is gonna make the banks feel comfortable, we see it already. I showed this on previous videos. Go to Fidelity Crypto, fidelity.com/crypto. They trade 3 cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. That's it. And so, yeah, these exchanges, they list all these other coins, and that may to some people be like, wow, that's a great thing that they're listing these coins. That means it's going to be the future. No, it doesn't, because they're also listing Peanut the Squirrel coin, which is going to be absolutely nothing, right? So anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and the discussion in it. Give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you when I see you crypto on.